we're featuring Proper. I'll let you introduce yourself real quick.
Hello, my name is ProperNerdy. I'm a TPK staff member, role player, game master, and sometimes game designer. But today I'm playing someone else's game. This is Provenance by Kaya, and it's going to be interesting. It's brand new, and I've read through the rules a couple times, and I'm excited but confused and scared. But it's okay, because aren't we all? Go ahead and take us away.
All right. It's going to be great. I'm excited about this as well. So this is as Proper said, this is a game by Kaya, who is in the chat right now as Miralock as well. As we understand it, Pearl and Provenance is a world building role playing game, where the role playing comes in as the two of us as demigods who are trying to escape a great calamity, as well as build a new world for essentially at least one of us, depending on both of our prerogatives. It could be one of us, it could be both of us. And it is slightly open-ended in that way where it's actually written in that we could either choose to stop at any point, and the world we have built via the physical map in front of us that'll develop over time, as well as our own myths, creatures, and legends about ourselves, the world, those creatures we've created, and everything in between, will form together into either just its own story or a world that's usable in other games as well. So we're going to get started with basically just laying the groundwork that you can see in front of you. We're essentially starting with this like little island. It's something that Proper and I just decided to do as a sort of starting point, and we're going to just walk through the game basically top to bottom as it's written. We'll read through everything for you as the audience as we go, and to help our own understanding of what we're doing as we're doing it. And we'll just kind of keep going back and forth. The role play will happen as it's available, and we've got our own cheat sheet on the sides here for keeping our notes for the world we're creating. So, Proper, if you wouldn't mind helping me out with reading out the introduction to us picking who we are while I get our music going, would that be okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I should say that we are two demigods who... Well, the introduction of the game says you are a pair of nameless demigods fleeing a terrible calamity. The divine lands where you once dwelt are no more. Individually, you might survive. Together, you will thrive and make your own place in the world. Pearl and Providence is a two-player game where you can play as a strategy game, create a world, and collect a set of creation myths all at the same time. So, to create our demigods, we should first choose a relationship that lies between the two of us. The game suggests things like twins, mates, either opposite aspects of one being, or bitter enemies. Where do you want to start, Magic? Do you have any thoughts coming into it?
You know, the couple of times that you and I have played together at TPK's table now, we've always been allies. So, I kind of like the idea of playing as opposite aspects of one being. What do you think?
I like that. That's a kind of traditional way to put it, especially because we're going to be given two domains in a moment, so it makes sense that we're kind of opposites. But what would you say we are the opposite aspects of? One of us is going to start with the domain of shell, and the other starts with the domain of scale. Not sure what either of those mean intrinsically, but there's obvious things like order and chaos, there's light and dark, there's life and death. Any particular mythological favorites?
I think I'd like to go somewhere along the lines of order and chaos.
Sounds good to me.
It's broad enough that we can sort of run with how we'd like to run with that, but then we can also still sort of characterize in opposing ways.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
I mean, my name is Proper, so I might as well take order if you're cool with chaos.
I'll take chaos, absolutely.
Okay. What calamity are we fleeing? This represents a divine domain that both of you will be forbidden from acquiring during the course of the game. So it could be a great war between the gods, a sickness draining the old world, an all-devouring darkness, or the fires of catastrophe. Divine domain. I'm trying to think of like maybe we want to put this on ourselves as if this is both of our what's it called, like reconciliation of that our order and chaos fought in the past and they are fleeing a calamity that they caused. Does that make sense?
Ooh, okay. So are we sort of like reincarnations of ourselves in this aspect, or are we the same beings just fleeing something that we accidentally caused in the same instance of our lives?
I'd say the latter, because I feel like it's it feels like a war. I mean, we're kind of becoming bitter enemies at this point, but that's fine. Is if we are fleeing a world that could not handle our back and forth, and so we might still be we're not new versions of ourselves, but we are fleeing an old world just to try to see if we can make this work again on a different world. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, maybe we've learned from our mistakes and maybe we haven't, kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like that might kind of make sense.
Okay, I like it.
Of like, we could, like, at certain points we could certainly say that, oh, maybe this was just the fault of the other world, but because we can't get away from our aspect of being chaos and order, but
okay,
maybe in a new world we'll be able to fare better. I think that creates some.
I'm a fan.
Some at least create some good like lore, like some backstory for myth making as we move on.
Okay.
Next up is, what did you bring with you when you fled? This represents a divine domain that both of you have permanent access to throughout the game.
Okay.
I kind of did the last one, so actually we didn't clarify what the divine domain that we cannot acquire would be.
That would be I forgot what you said already. We should write this down.
So this is the thing, is that the game doesn't exactly say what this means, but basically throughout the game we'll acquire domains to be like, this is like what I do. And so the calamity that we're fleeing should be defined as one of the domains that we cannot take during the game.
Okay.
And then the question we're answering now is a domain that we both have access to.
So what we fled was, did you say the fires of catastrophe? Was that what that was?
That's a good way basically of saying the fires of catastrophe. So let's say I guess the fires of catastrophe is the name of the other. Here it is. So like each of these descriptions says a great war between the gods, a sickness draining the old world. So like fires would be the that's actually a good one for order and chaos too. Is I think fire is a divine domain that we cannot claim because we are escaping the fires of our last world. And if you have an idea of like something we brought with us to spawn this new world.
So just a note for you and I added a second tab to our cheat document here just to write this down. So we have fled the fires of catastrophe, so the fire domain is unattainable to both of us.
Sounds good.
I'm kind of leaning toward fragments of shattered stars as what we brought with us. Oh, sorry, this is just me, isn't it? Do we both get to pick one?
Yep. Kind of reading we pick one for the pair of us. We both have access to it throughout the entire game. So whenever it says you can use a domain or you can in any way that the domain is being used throughout the game, we both have access to this. So I'd say let's see. Why don't we think of something kind of the opposite? Why don't we say to like calm, like this feels very mythy, to calm our differences and to kind of put out the fires of the past. Okay. Our domain that we can't touch on is water. So water should always be a neutral territory kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Ooh, okay. Yes, that makes sense.
I mean, that also means that like we can separate from each other by putting a lot of water between us. and that could be a fun like myth-making, map-making thing.
Okay.
But neutral waters, I would say, is what we brought with us.
That sounds great.
And so the water domain is shared between us.
Okay. Awesome.
So on that note, we both start with a single domain. In the instructions, it says the domain of shell and the domain of scale.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference?
I would probably
I think that I imagine these are like shells in the ocean and scales on a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it's open to interpretation what these domains mean, as far as I can tell.
Right. I think I'm just going to lean shell.
Okay, and I'll take scale.
Oh, we have that on our first one, don't we? Nope, that's not.
Yep. I just did it.
We did. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so what's next here? Oh, we have not chosen names for ourselves yet. Okay, that's important.
So we do not choose names because that is a part of one of the rules that we can do later on.
Yes.
So gameplay starts with spreading out a large sheet of hex paper, or in our case, we're using Roll20. We place our demigod tokens in the center, and we each begin with what are called tokens in this game. So we have 7 sight, 2 power, and 2 glory. We can use those tokens as a currency to do certain moves throughout the game, usually 1 for 1, but sometimes more. And we will alternate turns, each turn taking 2 different actions from a list of them below. Basically, so throughout the game, we can move across our map using the tokens you can see on the screen. We can claim a concept to add to our divine domains using a move called Define. We can shape the realm around us by shaping the terrain and climate of the world. We can create life to attempt to create a life form. And that's actually a fun move where we both kind of have say in what happens to that. Grant sentience is adding sentience to that existing life form. Inspire, you lend a divine spark to a mortal to inspire great deeds. Another move called Sanctify, you create a sacred space. Reminisce is a myth-making move where you describe a lost treasure from the world that was. And the alternative move to that the alternate player can do is called Place a Seed Pearl, where you introduce the lost treasure, the other demigod described, into this new realm. We have another score called Enmity, which we can raise or lower depending on how the myth making goes. And lastly, if we want to be particularly uncooperative, we have a chance to attack one another and bring down the glory of another demigod. If one of our glories ever makes it to 0, we will die and end the game. But we will see if it ever makes it that far. If you have any questions, I know that the creator is in chat, so I hope you get a chance to get a feel for the game, and we'll see how this goes.
All right.
We should also decide who goes first.
Would you like to go first? I really don't have a preference.
Seeing as I just chose, I just got given scale as my first domain. I have an idea of what I want to do.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off real. Well, actually, let's see. I'm going to attempt to create a life form as my first move, which is called Create Life.
Okay.
Let's see what that says. So the mechanical cost for me is I'm converting power into glory, because I start off the game with 2 power. I mean, I can really only... Yeah, I will convert one power into one glory. So what I do is I describe a life form that I want to create. I'll specify at least 3 or 4 distinct features, at least one of which should be connected to or inspired by your demigod's domains. Roll as many d4s as the number of power tokens that you are converting. The other player narrates the results based on your highest roll. We should say that this whole game is written with the help of Caltrop Core, so it's all d4 based. So if I get a 4, it'll go well, and if I get a 1, it'll not go so well. It should be noted as we move along that if we ever increase our level of enmity, we get to roll an extra d4 without needing to convert any extra power. The higher enmity climbs, the more adversarial you should feel encouraged to be when describing results of Create Life. So what I want to create is, we'll say that in the chaos, the people of our previous world were fighting bitterly, and they had achieved sentience to the point where fighting became very, very violent. A point where, like, you wonder if having intelligence means you can be more brutal, even if you know that it's bad. And so the first life form I want to create is something that reminds me of those people, but doesn't have the sentience yet that led to our destruction. So I'm creating a sort of mermaid-like creature. They will have my domain of scale, so they'll be a scaled creature with that live entirely in the water, and they'll have long arms but be simple-minded, and they are herbivores, so they only eat plants, and in that way they have the my aspect of like order, which is they don't fight other creatures for food. I'm gonna roll a d4, probably in roll 20 because I don't know where my dice are right now, and depending on that roll, magic will let me know how it. Oh no!
That's a 1.
On a 1, all but one of your features you described are missing or twisted in some way. The other player will narrate the results. So this was a bold move to go with rolling a single d4 my first turn, but that's fine. You get to explain how my creatures are missing or twisted in some way, except for one of them. You tell me which feature it is that is normal, but all the rest are going to be messed up in some way.
Okay, so you described.
So I'd say like the aspects are they are tame, they are herbivores, they are human-like but with fish bodies that live entirely underwater.
Okay, let's say they are herbivores is the one that remains.
Interesting. So if you want to explain how they're are the rest all just missing, or are they twisted in some weird way?
Oh, it's up to me to explain how the rest. Oh, okay.
Everything else is up to you. I explain what I want, and you explain how it goes.
Okay, so
which feels appropriate for chaos.
Let's say that. So they remain herbivores. That's going to stay. They're half human, half fish. We're going to say that it's actually a 50-50-ish toss-up. Which half is fish and which half is human?
God.
And then I'm sorry. What else did you say about them?
So if herbivore is the only thing that they're keeping, that means they have to live on land.
Oh shoot. So half fish, half people that live on land. Okay, are you writing this down?
Yep.
Oh boy. And then you also said they were simple-minded. We'll say,
and they don't attack other creatures for food. So I guess that's the one thing that they're keeping. You could say that they're. I said that they were tame, so you could say that they're actually quite vicious if you wanted to.
We can, yeah. So they'll be. I'm gonna say sometimes quite vicious. So instead of like all encasing statements, I'm gonna go with like mostly's.
Okay.
If that's okay. So except for the 50-50, like which half is fish, which half is human. That's gonna be like almost a straight 50-50. We'll say that herbivores remains, but they do sometimes still attack other creatures for food from like a territorial or possessive perspective.
Sounds good to me. I mean, it doesn't sound great, but it's fine. That's how the game works. Great.
Did that cover it?
That covers it. I should take my second action then.
Yes.
Oh Lord. Okay. So first I need to change one power into one glory. I'm gonna move far away from you, knowing that you ruined my mermaid people. I have a sight of 7, so I can move up to 7 spaces, either over land or water. In later turns, I can choose to split it up across another action, so I can move, then take another action, then move again, as long as my total movement remains less than or equal to the sight at the end of my turn. They specify that because if your sight changes throughout your turn, then it might mess that up. So I'm going to, this is basically all around us is going to be basically water at the moment. So I'm going to move my
I did mean to ask you about that before we started. I apologize. So we want to assume that the empty space around us is just water and not truly empty space?
Well, that's up to you. What do you think? I think because we decided to make this little island here, we can do it either way.
I think I'd probably lean toward just assume water, because the language of all the actions in the game and everything alludes to
specifies
not empty space. Yeah. So
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the background blue to specify that it's water.
That's perfect.
Okay, that is the end of my turn. If you want to go ahead and start messing up this new world we've built together.
Okay, I'm gonna start by moving, actually, and I'm going to, I think, go by creating some more land, or shaping realm as it's put in the game. So I think I'll just scoot right on over here, and there will be some space there. I think that's fine. Let me zoom in.
So it's just shape realm. You're going to convert one site into one power. You get to change the landscape of certain tiles around your demigod. This may include raising land from the ocean, shaping mountains and valleys, sinking land back into the depths, or even creating underwater terrain. Roll as many d4s as the number of power tokens you have after you've paid the mechanical cost. You then add the results of your rolls together. This is the total number of tiles you may affect this turn. Then each of you will roll a d4, and total the results determine the base quality rating of the tiles that you are shaping. This may range from 2 desolate to 8 sublime. So you've rolled 3d4 because you're converting because you have
3 power.
Okay. For a total of 7, which means
7 tiles.
This land
right?
7 tiles, right? Is it? Hold on. Yes. Cool. So you can affect 7 tiles around you, which means the 6 around you and the one you're on if you want to, or otherwise. Also, we are each going to roll a d4, and that'll be your quality rating.
Oh, okay. I think I missed a detail here. You may affect
totally
tiles within a range equal to your sight. So despite my movement, I can still... It's a sort of ranged effect, or I can affect the space immediately around me. I'm just going to go with the space immediately around me for now.
Okay.
And since it's 7, let's just keep it simple and do the one I'm on and the 6 around me.
Lovely. So you need to roll a d4 real quick for me.
Okay.
A single one.
Mine is a 3.
I rolled a 4 and you rolled a 3, so that's a 7.
Ooh.
Which means the land you're creating right now is going to be pleasant terrain, a quality of 7.
Okay. I like this forest as pleasant terrain, so I will make this nicer, I promise. Let's get me out of the middle there for a second.
This is when will roll 20 behave? Who knows?
Looks like it's close. We'll plop that on the map layer. And I'll put 7s on these to help us remember what the quality rating of our current terrain is.
Sounds good.
And do this. I think that's my 2 actions, is it not?
I believe you moved and you shaped the realm. So yeah, that's your 2 actions for now.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, that was kind of quick, but
you're good. That's what you should. So I decided to do something weird in my first turn, so that's you. That's my fault. I should also make some little note that there's weird fish, half man creatures living on this terrifying island. So I'll do that with my. This is the wrong way around mermaid creatures. This awful haunted island that I've got going on here.
Let's get a quick zoom in for stream here. There we go. It's great. I love it.
The order god is not demigod is very disappointed in this, but you know, we all have our mistakes.
Indeed.
Anywho, where was I? So what I'm gonna do, let's see what I have. I'm gonna also shape the realm that I am around.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make a coral land. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do the same as you did. I'm going to change one site into 1 power to shape my realm. Since I have 2 powers, so I'll roll this twice. So that's a 2 and a 3, which is I can convert 5 tiles up to my current site of 6. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use these tiles. We don't really have a coral reef kind of thing. So what I'm gonna do is make, where'd it go? I'm just gonna make some of these into coral reefy kind of things.
Ooh, nice.
Let's see what I can do. That's my 5, and I'll just do this.
My D4 to the contribution of quality is a 2.
Okay, let's see if I can do any better than that. 3, so it's a 5, which isn't ideal, which means it is average.
Average.
I can see that my demigod is not feeling it, but it's okay.
So looking, just to help some understanding here, looking totally. Sort of forward toward what is an eventual end here. I'm not seeing anything written into what is the consequence really of the quality of land. It seems like it's a sort of just a part of the world building that lends itself to the interpretation of whatever setting it gets eventually used in. Is that what you're gathering?
I do believe there is a reason. I just forget exactly which one it is. because you can also sanctify a land to make it a sacred space, but it's a separate. For some reason, it's a separate mechanic than the quality.
It seems like labels being placed on certain pieces of the world. Again, that seems.
Oh no! Here we go. So there's attack, because you can attack a sacred space, and its holiness will be eliminated. Or you can, once the quality of a tile has reached 1 or blasted, any remaining attack strength on the tile is not absorbed as dealt as damage directly to the other demigod's glory. So you can attack. When you attack in the demigod, you attack their location, and so you can destroy another person's like realm, and
gotcha.
Eventually chip away at their glory enough that like they dissolve as a being.
Gotcha. Okay, I did miss that.
Cool. So I'm sure, yes. As Miralock said in the chat, land quality ties into the mechanics for attack and inspire.
Gotcha.
So inspire as well has an option to do things like that. So we'll do that when we get there. But right now we're putting quite a lot of distance between ourselves. And you have a little like land forest. I'm like deep in the sea.
I'm
going
two,
to.
correct?
No, I've only done the one so far.
Okay,
so
sorry.
I've shaped my realm. We're creating an underwater. It's not beautiful land, but you know it works and it's functional, and that's all that my demigod cares about. And so I'm thinking about using the move Define, which I add a concept to the list of your demigod's divine domains by telling a short myth that links the concept with the domain you already possess. I'm trying to think of an appropriate one. Here's what we'll do. Seeing the results of the mistake that they tried to create life that reminded them of home, they sink into a dark place in this world. They create a barrier reef in this new ocean and sink down to the depths of the ocean floor. And I'm going to claim the domain of darkness to kind of describe the feeling of like, I can't do anything wrong if I just close off the world. So we'll say that this demigod is kind of, I don't want to say sinking into depression, but like kind of is, and is not doing super well in this new world. But trying to, there can be no chaos if you are in the dark. And so I'm claiming darkness as my new domain. And so the myth is just that this demigod sunk into the sea to hide from its mistakes in a previous life. Once I claim this concept, another demigod may claim a complementary concept to add to their own list of divine domains. This concept may be a direct opposite to yours, or may be a related concept. Do you want to?
Yes, and I will go with the obvious light, just to sort of play with that dichotomy there. So, and remind me, which action was this, so I can sort of...
This was Define, so I have to actually change my site again. So, into power. And so this counts as my move, not as yours, so don't worry about that.
Okay, and it does not require me to add to the myth.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it does unless you want to. So, I
think we'll just leave it for now, since it explicitly is calling out not expend the other player's turn or require them to tell a myth. I'm going to hang on to a myth for now.
Sounds good to me.
See where we land. Okay. Now that was your second, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I think I know what I would like to do. I would like to shape again, just to get a little bit more definition into our physical landscape here. I can shape land up to my site, so I'm gonna go north a little bit here, maybe this area. But I have to roll d4s equal to my site. Is that correct?
What are you doing?
Power.
Shaping...
Sorry. I'm shaping realm again.
So let's start with first converting your one site into one power. You already did that, right?
Oh, no, I did not. Thank you.
Okay, do that first.
Now I roll d4s up to my power.
Correct.
Which is now 4. So we're at another 7. And the individual tiles I choose have to be within 5.
Range equal to your site, yeah.
Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking at these guys. I'm kind of thinking about making a sort of bridge in between our start and this space here. And then maybe a couple others as well.
You want to commune with the twisted fish creatures?
I'm going to try. And then we each roll d4 for quality. Mine is a 3.
Oh, I need to roll you a d4, right?
Yes.
2.
So 5. That was average, right?
Yep.
Let's make a... Let's just sort of do this. I don't want to move that one. I want to make a copy of it. That's 3. Let's give him a little more space here. So we've got a little bit more of a mass happening of land here. That's average. And then I think the other thing I wanted to do... I think I would like to... Oh, no, I can't. I can't inspire the fish people yet because they are not yet sentient.
Correct.
Okay. So
if you want to curse them with sentience, feel free.
Let's go with creating another life form for now. We'll just do 1. So converting 1 power into 1 glory. Okay. Describe a life form I would like to create. Specify at least 3 or 4 distinct features, at least one of which should be connected to or inspired by my domains. Okay. Roll as many d4s as the number of power tokens I'm converting. That would be 1. The other player narrates the results based on the highest roll. Okay. So I have shell and light.
So you're doing what I did, which, good luck.
Yeah. I think I would like to create a life form of bioluminescent shellfish.
Okay.
They have, I'm going to say more like hermit crab. I'm going to go that direction. A sort of hermit crab that has... Well, okay, here's the aspects of them. They live inside shells, of course. The shells themselves have a bioluminescent effect as a sort of communication mechanism. They have 1 claw and 5 legs. And they never change in size from their birth, I guess.
So what is their normal size? Are they really tiny or really, really large?
I'm going to say they range. The sort of inception of them is a range of sizes from size of a tiny pebble to maybe what in our world we know as a basketball, and everything in between.
In a previous life, I would have called it a basketball. Great. I've added that to your character sheet, but roll me that power and I'll see how it goes.
So it's 1
You're rolling
die.
power, right?
Yeah, it's 1. Am I getting this right? 1 die per.
You just roll 1. You roll as many d4s as the number of power tokens you're converting.
Oh, I only converted 1, so yes, it's just 1d4.
You can convert more if you want to.
It's just gonna stick with the 1, and it is a 4.
All you've described plus 1 feature that is in accordance with one of your domains. I mean, you already have it pretty well done. Let's put it this way. You get all of those things plus their shells are absolutely gorgeous. They are like mathematically perfect.
Nice.
So they're not just little hermit crabs, but they're absolutely gorgeous hermit crabs.
Lovely. I like it. Okay.
Cool.
That's my
out
two.
there living your best life. It's fine. I love this song. Sorry. this is a song from Epidemic Sound, and I love this song.
Yes.
It's appropriate for It's My Turn Now. I'm trying to think of some other moves that we haven't done yet. Let's see what I can do. I could reminisce, which is telling a short story of the world that was before, and one piece of it that your demigod tried to save. Perhaps it was a place or a magical tree or one animal that was lost, the last of its kind. What did it mean in the context of the world that was lost, and what does it symbolize to you now? You know what? I'm gonna do. I'm going to. So I'm gonna reminisce, and so I need to convert one side into one power. I'll do that first before I forget. My power, it grows. I'm gonna reminisce about the electric eel, which didn't have anything to do with the final days on our previous planet. In fact, most of the sentients in our previous life didn't understand the electric eel, and it was a mystery shrouded in the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean. And so being in this place beneath the waves, my demigod is thinking about this creature that even the most dedicated scientists of a previous world could not figure out everything there was to learn about the electric eel. And so in this moment of darkness, he thinks about this strange creature that thrived and existed beyond knowing, even in the darkest depths of the ocean. And I'm gonna morph this into into my next move, just because I think it's fun. Thinking about the electric eel brings up thoughts about all the other life under the ocean, and the bioluminescent creatures that used to live under the seas remind my demigod of you, and therefore I'm going to increase enmity between the two of us as a bit like a little ember of hatred kind of fills up, because you seem to be doing so well and my demigod has not done so well so far. So we increase our enmity, I hope I'm saying that right, to 1. Okay. Which is just kind of a description of our bitter battle, but also it helps you do other things in the future if we move it up at all.
True. Okay. So you have created you reminisced, which was describing a lost treasure. That's what that was, and then increasing the enmity. Okay. I would like to respond to the increase in enmity. Recognizing that our actions and retaliations against each other in the world we had to just flee from was the cause of all that destruction and the reason we had to leave in the first place, I'm going to relinquish one of my domains to be picked up and absorbed by you in order to bring our enmity back down and try to avoid another such conflict. So, as written, it doesn't specify if I choose or you choose which domain should be given. I think it makes sense that I would choose as the one initiating the action. What do you think?
Giving up one of your demigod's domains to be picked up and absorbed by a demigod. I think it's your move. You choose.
Okay. Man, I really like,
especially because you're trying to like settle the differences between us,
right?
And so if it's your choice to give it up to give it as a sign of respect to me.
So I think it is becoming increasingly obvious that you're going with a sort of motif of the sea. So it's my assumption, at least at this point, that it is a love and or a passion of yours. So I will relinquish my shell domain.
Okay. And I'll decrease it down to 0.
We've had a reckoning. And then I think I would like to sanctify the place that I am on. We can see this, right? I have to keep rechecking to make sure I'm not messing up the map view for our viewers.
It has gotten rather phallic all of a sudden.
We'll keep expanding on it so it gets away from that. But for now, I'd like to sanctify. So this is converting 1 glory into 1 sight. I'm noticing that all of our actions are, they will either decrease one of our resources or convert, but there's never really anything just adding. Is there?
Pardon me? So basically, yeah, adding a Shaping Realm is adding to the world, I think is what you're asking.
Sorry, adding to our combined pool of sight, power, or glory. Like if we take the values of all of those together.
No, it should all just kind of stay the same as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to sanctify Where did you go? There you are. One glory.
But basically, what
into
you can
one
do is
sight.
you can, because your sight is the biggest one you have, so you can kind of like define more aspects to create more power, and then as you add power, you can gain glory.
Right.
So that kind of helps. Or Shaping Realm can add to your power as well. But then later on, Sanctifying Rominess use up glory and sight and power.
Yes. Okay. So I am transforming my current location into a sacred place. Describe the feature marking this link. Is it a refreshing holy spring, a vast underwater crevasse, etc., etc.? Roll a d4 and mark the resulting number as this tile's holiness rating. Okay. D4 turns out to be a 2. I will put a new text dealio here. Holy 2. Scoot it down here. I think the landmark here to fit the forest look is going to be a great central tree. I hate to sound cliche, but let's just call it a tree of life.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Wild. Crazy.
I'm already stretching my my creativity muscles, so I think I'll take a default fallback for now. Okay, so I think that's my 2, right? Yes. Oh, landmarks. I can add that.
The Deku tree is proud.
Deku is proud. Yes, absolutely. Creates a tree of life landmark as a sanctified holy site. There we go. I believe that's my 2.
Interesting.
We're getting a good mix now too of
I
few
think-
different things going on.
Yeah, so speaking of which, I'm going to do a new move, Grant Sentience. After your gift of the domain of Shell, the demigod is going to, I'm going to use 1 glory and grant sentience to your bioluminescent shelled hermit crabs. Now that they're sentient and they crawl amongst my sea, just I make a little icon for them too. There's my beautiful drawing skills. I don't actually know what a hermit crab looks like, but that's good enough. And then we're gonna make them glow, right? So they have little glowy powers. Ooh, look at that. They glow. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by drawing hermit crabs. So this hermit crab thing now has sentience, which is really cool and all. And so they spawn across the entire surface of the bottom of the ocean. And one thing I have to do is I choose a name that this species uses to refer to the demigod. That's a lot to ask. I'm going to say that just something. This sounds so generic. I was going to do the King of the Deep, and they refer to the King of the Deep as a kind of water demigod that they control the ocean. That controls the ocean, or at least lives in the ocean.
Nice.
Cool. Anyway, my next move is going to be. Let's see. I have a lot of power, right? I should not have a lot of power. We're gonna try again at. No, we're just gonna shape. We're gonna shape realm this time, and just kind of grow my my empire. That is, the reef. So shape realm. I'm converting my sight into power. So that's I'm down to 3 sight, but 5 power. And then I'm gonna roll d4s as number of power tokens I have. So we'll do this electronically. So roll 5 d4s. Oops. That's 10. So I can make 10 tiles.
Wow.
If you want to give me your oh nice, give me your so that's 4 plus 2 is 6, which means that this new land is going to be, where is it? It's Pleasant. Our coral reef is getting more and more beautiful.
Excellent.
Oh crap! Hold on. So let's see. Copy paste. Oops, messed that up. Okay, so it's just gonna basically the coral reef in this new land is gonna grow and twist and fill up, kind of like make a maze around the ocean floor that's gonna become like this big, beautiful coral reef area. Not to like hide away from the world, but they found their place in this world, so they're gonna really stick to it, I'd say.
Okay.
So that's my giant coral reef, and I have granted sentience to your hermit crabs. So right now, those are my 2 actions.
Okay. Okay. I think I would like to try a define. I might struggle with this, but we're here to try new things. So, add a concept to the list of my divine domains by telling a short myth that links the concept with a domain I already possess. I'm on light. I think so, sort of taking light and leaning into the sort of chaos thing that I've got going on. I'm going to say fire. That doesn't clash with anything that you've already done, right?
No, you're good.
Okay. Tell a short myth that links the concept with a domain I already possess. Okay, so being one with chaos and light, there are times when the demigod of chaos can lose control of his emotions. It is not always an instance of anger or fear or sadness necessarily, but really any overpouring of emotional state. And when this happens, it can sometimes manifest in or near his physical space as wildfire. So,
real quick, I do not believe you can claim fire.
Oh, really?
So as we fled the fire's catastrophe, we are no longer allowed to claim fire as a domain.
Dang it! Okay, I told such a good myth. I'll pick something else. That's okay. So fire is the one we can't claim, right?
Correct.
God,
we both technically have access to water.
We both have water. I think I'd still like to do something new. Let's say Let's stick with the elements a bit. We're talking about fire and water. Yeah, we ruled out fire during character creation. The one thing I couldn't pick is the one I picked. Let's go air.
Okay.
So
instead of like wildfire, it's like hurricanes?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with like a different flavor of the same myth and call it extreme emotion manifests as windstorms and hurricanes.
Okay. And so I can choose to take a complementary concept. I think what makes sense is I'm going to take the if you have like windstorms and hurricanes and such, that could affect the waters, and so could create monsoons or tsunamis. And so I'll just take the concept of the tides. I'll take the domain of tides.
Awesome. I have added my myth. Are you going to add a myth to that, or are you going to?
No, I think that just makes sense. Just kind of your chaos. I'm order. So I'm gonna try to take. Tides are regular.
Okay.
Tides are predictable, and so where storms are not, the tide is.
Okay.
Was there something else you were going to do that turn?
I believe that was my first, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I think I don't want to end up beating the same drum too many times, but I do want to sort of add to our physical creation here. So I think I'd like to simply shape realm again. So I convert one site into one power. Roll as many d4s as the number of power tokens I have after paying the cost, so that's going to be 6. Holy cow. Okay. So it's 15 tiles coming within 4 tiles of me. I think we're just going to be expanding the landmass that we've got going on here. My d4 for quality is a 1. Uh-oh.
Oh, yep. Jesus, come on. 2. Good luck with a 3.
Uh-oh.
So that's gloomy land.
Okay. Gloomy land. How about we go with oh. Here we go.
Graveyard. Okay.
Graveyard.
Valid.
And it's 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's got to be within 4, so 14, 15. I'll straighten this all out.
The tree of life is surrounded by death.
Yeah, I figured that would make for a good opportunity for maybe some new myths or
I should
stories.
also mention that when you do Shape Realm, to subsequent uses of Shape Realm can affect tiles that have already been shaped. You may choose to overwrite the original quality rating or not on a tile-by-tile basis.
Ah, so something that's already there.
So, I mean, you already have this whole area of 7. Like, you could reduce it all down to like 6, or if you want to say that like this remains a holy area because it has the tree of life, that makes sense. But just wanted to give you the option in future turns.
Yeah, I think for now I'm gonna keep this because I like where it could go. But yeah, I'll keep that in mind for future instances. I think that's my 2. I think we're off to you again.
Great. Now that I've accrued a lot of power, I'm going to turn some of that into glory and create life once again. I'm going to use 3 power, which means be 5 glory. And so I'm going to describe a life form that I want to create. I'm going to roll as many d4 as the number of power tokens I'm converting, and the other player will narrate the results. So I want to create a creature not dissimilar to a whale, something huge and powerful that lives beyond the confines of my growing coral reef. And once again, we're trying for something that is tame and herbivore and doesn't understand the world more than what they need to survive. But let's post something fun in there and say that, what do I have? I have light, darkness, I have darkness, shell, tides, and scale. Let's say that in the myth of this world, these creatures are so powerful they can shift the tides, and they can shape water. So I'm going to roll 3d4, 2, 3, or 3. So you're going to describe a 3, which is all that I have described, plus one feature that is slightly out of alignment with my domains.
Slightly
so
out of
these
alignment with
giant water-shaping whales do exist, but what is one thing that's a little bit that is out of alignment with my domains?
Stale, darkness, scale, not stale. Darkness, shell, and tides. Slightly out of line with one of those.
So the real wording is out of alignment with. I added slightly.
Oh, okay.
So you can decide how much out of alignment it is.
This is a tough one. They're whale-like creatures. They can shape they can shape water, shift the tides. Where did you say they technically dwell, or would
they dwell
usually?
Deep in the ocean beyond the reef.
Okay.
So they live far away from land, is what I'm saying, basically.
Okay, and that was intended to be a sort of alignment to the darkness, right?
Yes.
I'm going to modify that part and say, instead of being, secluded to the deep and dark of the far waters, let's tie them in to the shellfish a bit and say they live in
so you're not going to
coherence.
change it. You're just going to add one other thing on top of it.
Oh, on
they
top
do still
of it.
get. So I get all that I have described.
Gotcha.
But they also have plus one feature that is out of alignment.
Plus one. Got it. Okay, sorry.
So like the obvious one would be adding something that gives them a power of light.
Right.
Though you could certainly try incorporating wind into it in some way.
This is a tough one. Adding to it out of alignment. And it's a feature about them.
Yes.
What do we think about if/when they do shape water for any reason? it is also a cause for windstorms above.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. Oops, sorry about that.
Cool. I've created deep-dwelling, water-shaping whales that also affect the wind when they control the water.
Awesome.
Lovely. So after that, and then it'd be boring and just shape land again.
Okay.
Or shape realm again. Converting one site into one power. I really need to get some more sight, though. I'm losing sight quickly, which is problematic, but that's fine.
It does feel a little bit scary to use the actions that are only spending instead of converting.
Yeah, those are terrifying, but they do help. That's what happens when you get like 5 power and you're like, okay, I can do something with this.
Right.
So I'm rolling power, so that's 3 plus 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. So I can make 6 more tiles of my beautiful growing realm.
I'm contributing a 2 to the quality.
Thank you. And I'm contributing a 1, so it's 3.
Oh no.
Oh no. But so it's part of land that already exists. So what I'll say is that no, I'll do it in a second. But it brings down I'd say that the ones at the ends are being chipped away by my whales and by the proximity to the land, and so the ones on the end are starting to fall apart because of the harsh winds and the heavy tides. So I'll make these ones 4s, and then I'll just add these on. Okay, so there goes my beautiful. One of these days I'll stop building this coral reef, but not today. Those are my 2 actions, so feel free to go ahead.
Okay. Where am I at for my resources? I gotta double check that. I'm looking at a lot of power and a little bit tapped in the sight and glory categories. So power stuff is I don't want to attack you. I think I've come away from like the origination story is still obviously the opposing forces, but I'm not in the mood for attacking at the moment. In fact, I went out of my way to decrease the amount of tension between us. So
you're trying to get rid of power, is what you're doing?
Oh, well, I'm trying to figure out taking advantage of using a heightened amount of power. I'm not really trying to get rid of it.
You can create better life, basically. So you're going to convert, let's see.
Power to glory.
Yeah, you convert X power to X glory. So if you have a higher chance of making better life if you have higher power.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's do a 3 to 3.
You can also place a seed pearl, and you use up 1 of each, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at maybe doing that later on. Can we place multiple seed pearls? It doesn't say there's a limit.
I think there is a limit. Give me 1 sec. There's a limit because you should take out 6 identical tokens to represent seed pearls. So up to 6 throughout the game is basically what it tries to say.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, let's create some life. And this is creating new life. This is not enhancing existing life, right?
Correct. Only ways to do that would be grant sentience or inspire.
Right. Okay, so I'm converting 3 power into glory.
Lovely.
And that lets me roll 3d4s and take the highest result, right?
Correct.
That'd be a 4.
Cool. So you need to describe what it is, and I'll describe the feature. You're good. You'll get all you describe plus 1 feature that I'm going to choose that's in accordance with your domains.
Okay, so I think I would like to place wisps. I think that plays into light and wind a bit each. So these are going to be floating orbs of light that actually have basically like upper body humanoid anatomy.
Okay.
Like floating torso, chest, arms, head, the central nervous system kind of set up. They live exclusively in forested areas. What is that, 3? And do not need to consume for sustenance. Like, they don't need to consume animals or plants or really anything. Their sustenance is, at the moment, unknown.
Okay. And what do they look like?
They're imagine like the upper body of a humanoid, but like its entire figure is just like wreathed in like a bluish light. So you can see like the shape of a torso, a head, and arms and hands, but it's all just like blue light.
Okay, I'm gonna say that instead of making noises normally, what they're gonna do is they aren't sentient yet, but they'll communicate by whistling and using the wind as a way to communicate and communicate with others of their species. Because that feels in accordance with your wind domain.
Okay, I'm writing down these details. Could you say that for me one more time?
They communicate and make noise by whistling.
Ooh. Whistling. Awesome. Oh, I forgot one thing. Live exclusively in forest territories. Awesome.
Cool. You have one more move.
I do have another move.
You can grant them sentience.
Do I want to do that right away? I might. You know what?
Feels appropriate.
I think I do want to do that. Yeah. So I'm spending 1 glory. Here's where I whittle myself down. A name that the species refers to me as. I'm thinking of something along the lines of like wind giver or life giver, like wind is life for them sort of thing.
I thought of something that's so ungodly cheesy.
Hit me with it.
This feels very much in the vein of like describing a new word in a new way, like in dialect, referring to you as the air we breathe. Like you are all of the air that they exist in.
You might think that's cheesy as hell, but I love it.
Just referring to like their demigod as the air we breathe just feels so like goofy, but also kind of cool in some way.
Absolutely.
I'm almost creating a religion for you, which is terrifying, but it's fine.
Where are you noting? Have you noted anywhere what the sentient details are?
No, they just get sentience because there's no actual like mechanical thing to it.
Okay.
But I have a check mark box for sentience, which both of your life forms have sentience so far. But you might want to put that in myths that the wisps refer to you as the air we breathe as their like demigod. Which, Kaya, I feel like we should probably reach out to you with this work in progress character sheet because it's going sort of well.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should make a few changes, but it's working out. You done?
That was my 2. Yes.
Great. So I have very little sight left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sanctify for the first time and really make this giant barrier reef into something that's actually holy in some way. Sanctify, I will transform your demigod's current location into a sacred place. Describe the feature using this link. Is it referring to a holy spring, a vast underwater crevasse, a monolith dark crystal, a wailing cave? Then I'll roll a d4 and mark the resulting number as this tile's holiness rating. And so I guess what we'll say is just that this land here is home to thousands and thousands of sea life that have now spawned in the area. Mm. And so this section is holy. And it's holy in the fact that it is teeming with life. I'm going to roll a d4. It's only a 1, but you know what? That's fine. I'm trying to think what other things I can do. So I have a lot of glory right now. Right, transform it into sight. And what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move inward a few spaces and prepare myself for my next turn. It's your turn, Magic.
Okay. Given that it's back to me and looking at our time here, I think we're at about the hour-and-a-half mark. Would you feel all right about taking a brief breather?
Let's take a break. We'll be back in 5 to 10.
All right, we're back. Coming back into our second half bout with Pearl and Provenance, a world-building and myth-making game by one of our very own community members, Kaya. We've been through a handful of rounds now of creating land, creating life, granting sentience, creating and resolving conflict, and some other stuff through all the cracks. So I think we're just gonna
Your demigod of chaos isn't creating any chaos.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I gotta get on that a little bit more. But we are playing.
I don't want to hurt you. We're trying to make up.
It's sort of playing off of the whole reason we're even here in the first place is because we created the very calamity we had to flee. So yeah, we'll see how we can sow the seeds of some more chaos into what happens. So I think what I'd like to do with my turn now is let's mix it up again and place a seed pearl. So this reads as place a seed pearl anywhere on the map. This represents bringing a lost treasure that the other demigod has reminisced about into this new realm. This lost treasure is clearly miraculous in nature and will settle into the new realm with anything and everything necessary to support its continued existence. And then immediately after I place the pearl, both of us get to reallocate our sight, power, and glory as we would like, and move our demigods anywhere on the map before I take my next action. So, place the seed pearl anywhere on the map. I think let's play with the whole chaos thing a bit and say I'm gonna plop it right on my holy site.
To be fair, it is going to be the lost treasure that the other demigod has reminisced about. So it does have to be an eel, an electric eel specifically. But you can make it miraculous in nature as you like to fit the rest of the vibe.
Yes. So it's an electric eel. I didn't realize that connection. Something that you have reminisced about, that you have to have mechanically used the reminisce function.
Correct.
Okay. So I think that'll make it a little more interesting here, because this is an electric eel that now lives among the tree of life, which is my holy site. Or at least it physically exists there. So I know we don't really have to give it any more definition than that.
Mm-hmm. You probably should describe how it has found a way to live on land.
Right. I think it's going to be more of like I have given it what it needs in order to survive. But it exists at the moment more as like a living relic. So we'll say it is an electric eel of great importance.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Because it fits your domain perfectly.
Sure.
Let's say it's a giant flying electric eel. Because we have populated the sea and the land, but not the air yet.
Okay.
I think it makes sense if since you have wind.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes sense if you are now going to create a giant electric flying eel.
I like it. Kind of like a Tempest of this world sort of thing. I'm all for it. Okay. That's great. So I got to reduce all 3 of my resources by 1. Whoops. Reduce by 1, not make it 1. And then both of us have the opportunity to reallocate our sight, power, and glory as we want, and move our demigods to anywhere on the map. It should be noted that death comes when... Which one is reduced to 0? Glory. So, glory has to remain above 0. What am I looking to do next is going to decide how I would like to reallocate, and that's going to be this. I'll reduce my glory to 2, my power to 1. That's a total of 3 that I can now add to my sight. And then I would like to move. Where did I go? Did we lose me?
It's possible you got sucked beneath the map layer. You may want to check what's beneath. There you are.
There we are. Well, that's weird.
Roll20, why are you like this? I think you may just have to add yourself back on the map.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do that. I'm one with the holy site. Let's bring a second copy of me in here. And then there we go. We had a text here that was holy 2. That's the holy.
Yes, this is why I moved the pearl to another location, just so you couldn't cover up the holy 2.
Gotcha. So that represents the like holy strength of the site toward me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And why did the music stop? There. I would like to move here. And have you moved where you would like to be?
Yeah, I'll put myself right here.
Okay.
Because I kind of already moved myself to make myself where I wanted to be.
Gotcha. So then I'm going to continue adding to our land space here and shape realm. So converting one site into 1 power. I can convert. I have to roll 2d4. That's the number of tiles. Okay. That is 5 tiles, and they have to be within 5 spaces of my current. But I can, with any of those, simply convert or change the quality rating of other tiles instead of adding to the empty space. Now I can choose tile by tile, right? You are muted.
I rolled a 1 for
Ooh,
your quality, so roll a d4.
that makes it a 5.
It's average,
So everything that I can touch is average or better. I don't want to make the spaces around my holy site worse than they are, so I think I'll just add to the 5s. And go with...
to be fair, those were 3 gloomies that we kind of adjusted because they were right next to a holy spite.
That's true.
So,
Oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to copy it. 1, 2. Let's expand out here and see what happens. Okay, I have now shaped that. It is of the average rating. Did not use that to re-affect any existing land. Okay, I think, yep, that's my 2.
I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to do something risky and bring my glory down to 1.
Ooh.
In order to both grant sentience and inspire my my whales that control the sea. So these are going to refer to my demigod as the stillness between the waves. Let's say that. I should probably give my whales a name. They're just me whales. I don't feel like coming up with a name for them. And inspire means I'm going to invest a spark of your demigod's divine power into a sentient individual who becomes a great figure in mortal history, a leader, a discoverer, a prophet, or some similar luminary. Decide whichever domains to inspire this individual with, then roll 2d4 and add the results together. The inspired mortal may work... Oh, well, what is it? Okay. Oh, the inspired one may work or wonder on any tile with the quality of the same number aka founding a city, constructing a grand monument, or making an astonishing discovery, or perform some other notable deed for their civilization. And if it's sanctified, then they may add a bonus to the tile's quality up to or equal to the holiness rating to try to match the total that was rolled. Okay, so let's start with the rolling of the dice. 2 and a 1, so 3. Now to read this rule again, because it was very confusing. If a tile is sanctified to you, then you may add a bonus to the tile's quality up to or equal to its holiness rating to try to match the total that was rolled. Well, it must be as much or as... So I have to find a tile that's 3. I don't. I guess it's down over here. So we'll do. I guess that makes sense. So my whale creatures are going to find themselves approaching land on these tiles here, and are going to construct their first city of sentience by creating a tower right here. And it's visible from hundreds of miles around, and it's kind of the central spire that claims this land as a city owned by the whales, and the city kind of becomes the entire barrier reef. But they are putting this spire up to claim that they are there and that others should be welcome to join them. So let's see. I guess so we both have access to water as a domain, which just feels appropriate for my whale creatures to set up a city in the sea. Mm-hmm. So I'll use that domain as inspiration, as my inspired. And because, as we discussed in the setup of this episode, the water is neutral territory, and so the sentient whales are claiming that this city of theirs is welcome to all who wish to join them.
Okay.
And I guess, I don't have to really describe. Oh, it's a discoverer. Yeah. So I'm not going to describe exactly the name of this person, but we'll just say that they are a leader in the underwater city.
Awesome. So the sort of catch for inspiring is that it's described as once you use the domain for the inspire action, you may not use that domain again for future inspires, but we share water, so I'm assuming I could also use water as an inspiration if I would like at some point. Is that?
I would say so.
Okay. That makes sense. Then I think I'd like to add to my myths. Where was that? Define?
Are you defining?
I believe so.
Start off by converting one site into one power.
Oh wait, no. I wanted to add another domain, and I'm forgetting.
That's define.
That is define? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it just has to be like somewhat in line with the domain I already possess.
Yep.
Okay, so one site becomes one power.
We can be lenient at how close it is.
Okay, add a concept to the list of my demigods' domains by telling a short myth that links the concept with a domain I already possess. So we'll say once in our original realm, Oh, that's fire. I tried to do fire again. Son of a gun.
Let's try this again.
I once used my abilities with wind to shape pieces of earth. Over the course of centuries and millennia, I learned that small pieces of earth constantly pelted against larger pieces of earth would slowly shape it. So, I think I'm just gonna go with Earth as my next domain. If that sounds reasonably tied.
I think you're good.
Okay.
I'm trying to think there's a complementary concept to add, and I already have the water and darkness, so I really can't take more than that. So I'll just leave it as is.
Okay. Domain of Earth comes to be by learning of shaping Earth using wind. Okay. That was one. Now I think I would like to inspire. Oh, there's no limit to how many times an individual species can be inspired, is there?
No, as long as you have enough domains to cover them.
Yeah.
And so I think the inspire thing is basically like creating a history of your world a little bit, because you're investing time or investing glory into like the greatest creators and kings and legends and that kind of stuff. And so do like to say that if you wanted to play generational, that's a whole game where that's the entire premise. So you could definitely take a world you created using Provenance and turn it into a game of generational. But yeah, basically inspire is a way to like create history in your new world as well.
Right. I think I would like to. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to sanctify. Right where I am. One glory becomes one sight. Transform the current location into a sacred place. Describe the feature marking this link. Roll a d4 and mark the resulting number as this tile's holiness rating. It is a 4. Since it is in the emptiness of the ocean, at least for now, I'm going to say that the feature marking the link is actually going to be deep within the ocean in this space. Going with wind a bit, I guess, too. We'll say it's a sort of swirling, like spontaneously swirling orb of space in the water deep underneath the surface. And that's my 2.
Okay. Give me one sec. I'm trying to figure out how I can. Only way to gain glory is to create life or attack.
Right. Or place a pearl and just reallocate again.
Valid. But I only have one glory, so if I get rid of the glory, I die.
Right.
So in order to attack or create life, I have to have power. I have 3 power. And in order to get more power, I need to shape realm or define. Okay, I think this makes sense. I'm going to define a new concept, and because I already have access to tides, the new city needs a way to keep track of its history, and so I'm going to claim the aspect of time. Time works in a very orderly way and keeps moving forward, and so through the years of the tide comes and goes, and tide comes and goes, and so this by tracking the tides over the every day, every month, every year, the god of darkness also the demigod of tides also controls time. Do you want to add an aspect based on that?
I'm sorry, was this the one where I also have to add one, or am I just
you may if you like.
You are
Once you claim this concept, the other demigod may claim a complementary concept to add to their own list of divine domains.
Oh, that's it, yes.
Counts as my turn, not as yours.
I would like to add your time. Is it? I'm just going to go with space. The whole time and space connection.
Okay. And for my second move, so I've converted one side into 1 power. I'm going to convert another site into 1 power. And shape my realm again. But this time, we're creating a land creature. We're moving out from the sea. I'm going to roll D4 equal to my power tokens, which should be 5. I get to make 14 tokens. I think what we're going to do is, and then you have to roll me a D4, please.
Yes.
It's a 5, so it's normal. It's normal.
Okay.
What tokens have we not used yet? Here's what we'll do. The whale creatures will start creating. 1,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's see if they added all 15. It did not. It's fine. Oh, did it put them all over here? That's why. Whoops. So we're going to create some boundaries to keep our coral area safe. And so they're going to start building up an area here that's just to protect themselves from the unknown creatures, and to not necessarily as a, like, what's it called? I'm totally breaking the rules here, but not adding them all to where I am, but hopefully you won't mind. I have to add 14. So they're just kind of keeping their citizens safe.
Okay.
It just so happens that this area is super well, what's it called? Super well defended. There's a lot of very important life lives beyond this coral reef, so it's that area there is well defended from the rest of the world.
Okay.
That's my 2 moves, so go ahead and take your turn.
Okay, I think I would like to... Oh, no, I can't do that. Well, I had all this time to do that, and I can't even do it. Oh, let's do this. I would like to reminisce.
Okay.
Sight comes down, power goes up. Short tale of the world that was before, and one piece of it that I tried to save. I'm going to say that I had... what did I do? I created a tree of life. I created a vortex in the water. I've created wisps. I'd like to play off the whole, like, created something out of the want for something I once had. Let's go with the tree. I once had, in our previous realm, a tiny tree that only stood a few inches tall, but from it emanated an immeasurable amount of energy that I could channel into elemental what's it called, instances, happenings, or life, or use it to siphon life from one creature into another, and that sort of thing. So I had this tiny tree. And then...
So what did it mean in the context of the world that was lost, and what does it symbolize to you now?
What it meant in the context of the world we lost is that it was really a channel for my powers and my desire to use them for creating life. And I'll play off the chaos a bit and say I could never really control what effect would happen. It was really sort of a spontaneous occurrence that siphoned and created life based off of my feelings and my thoughts at the time that I would try to use it. And what it means now to me is it's essentially the inspiration for the creation of my first holy site, this tree of life, which is much larger, but also more controlled in that it's centralized in this grove in the depths of the land that I've created here, and still acts as this life-creating area.
Okay. Is that one move or two?
That was one. The other, I am also looking at glory, and it's really attack or create life. So let's create life again. Man, I'm really not playing into the adversarial thing. That's okay. We'll take 2 power and convert that into glory. Describe a life form that I would like to create. Specify about 4 things about them. Let's create... a 4-legged creature that dwells on land. Has the capability of swimming and does most of its hunting for food in the water. And uses echolocation for its hunting.
Okay.
I should write that down before I forget. four-legged creature, land dwelling, but water hunting. Uses echolocation.
Okay. How
Okay.
much power are you converting into glory?
That was 2.
So roll me 2d4. Give me your highest roll.
That was a 4.
Okay. They'll have all the described plus 1 feature in accordance with one of your domains. Okay. They are a four-legged land-dwelling creature that hunts in the water, but also is able to shape earth enough to burrow into the ground where they make their homes.
Ooh.
And if we want to say add some fun flavor to the world, we can also say that like these creatures have shaped the coastline of our world to the point where it changes the way the coastline looks because they're filled with these burrows.
Very nice.
Speaking of creating life, I'm also going to create life. Let's see how much power I've got. I'm going to convert 3 power. Nope. 3 power to make myself 4 glory. And so I'm going to create a very similar, but they are a something akin to a polar bear, but in more tropical climes. So there are these huge, thick, beefy animals with powerful teeth and claws, and they are as noble as an animal could get. I'm thinking like there's the polar bear in the Golden Compass, that kind of vibe of like they're very regimented, very almost militaristic, but they really believe in honor, and so, or they would if they were sentient. But they're just these big, powerful beasts that patrol this land up here that I'm in, and since I converted 3 power, we're gonna roll 3d4. It's a 4, so you're going to give me everything I described plus 1 feature in accordance with one of my domains.
Isn't that in accordance with one of my domains?
This is a good question. The other player narrates the results based on your highest roll. All you have described plus 1 feature that is in accordance with one of your domains. So
Okay,
I think
so
use in
yours.
the sentence would be mine.
Yeah, okay. And that's what you did with mine. Okay.
Yep.
So what we have so far...
You write it down. Large, powerful, beasts that patrol the land around the reefs.
Okay. So adding to that with one of your domains, I'm going to say... Nah, that's too similar to the one you just did. I gotta branch out a little bit. Let's go with darkness. Large, powerful beasts that patrol the land around the reefs. Patrol the land around the reefs. I'm gonna go with tides, and say that as a defensive tactic, they are able to breathe underwater for extended, like, abnormal amounts of time around the land that they protect.
Okay. So
Yeah.
they're primarily land creatures, but they can swim as well as any fish if needed.
Awesome.
Sounds good. That was one move.
Mm-hmm.
And now what did I want to spend my glory on? Yes, I wanted to sanctify. Am I gonna sanctify? No, I'm gonna move first. So I have, how much sight do I have? 2. I'm gonna move over, and I'll get there eventually. Okay, your turn.
Okay, I think I would like to inspire. Because I haven't done that yet. So spend 1 glory. Invest a spark of my power into a sentient individual. Yeah. Who becomes an important individual. Okay, so rolling 2d4. They have 5 units of power, essentially, for their inspiration on the work that they put into a tile. With
So you're looking for a tile
number.
tile of 5 or more. So literally any of those. Or
Yep.
5 of that.
Okay. I'm going to inspire the wisps, or a wisp. Who's on this tile, I'll say. Oh, this is not... Let's put you on the map layer. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Wisp. Militant. This is going to be a sentient wisp that is able to harness being of wind. They are able to, well, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Becomes a great figure in mortal history, a leader, discover a prophet. I'm inspiring with wind. Then roll 2d4, add the results together. Works a wonder on that tile. Quality of the same number. Okay. Oh, or perform some other notable deed for their civilization. I'm going to say that on this space, taking my inspiration to bravely transplant themselves outside of the comfortability of this rich grove in the center of this space that I've created, and go out to the outskirts to find higher meaning, higher purpose. They are able to construct a monument on this space that allows them to tap into the holy site that I've also created on the space that my token is currently on. And I'm struggling with the detail, but something about harnessing this enhanced wind to help their civilization in some way.
Floating city.
I like it. I like it.
The land is not as what is it, arable as the rest of the land is, but they can float their city up and build a city above the less desirable land.
There we go. Thank you for the help. I'm struggling with some of these, but I
really do like playing these kind of myth-making games with you, because I know that you struggle with them.
Yeah, but I'm stretching wings I don't normally stretch, so I'm taking the dive.
I want to inspire you, so I will spend 1 glory.
There we go.
What? That was my glory leaving my body.
There you go. Hopefully not the last one. I believe that was my 2, right?
I think you're good.
Okay.
If only I didn't give up so much by sight so early on. I can't move anywhere.
Oh, I gotta mark this off.
Okay. So I moved up to my 2, and then I either want to inspire or sanctify, but I don't want to do that right now. Honestly, it's very hard to gain sight other than sanctifying things, which is kind of annoying. Let's see, how much glory do I have? Okay. Nope. You know what? Fuck it. I want to get over here, so I'm just moving again. That's my 2 moves.
Okay.
It's your turn now.
I think I'm going to first of all move 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. And then, oh boy, we don't have anywhere that we're noting what we've reminisced about, do we?
I don't think so. I believe I did it with myths, but let me double check. No, so we also didn't do anything with the eel when you place the seed pearl. So let's do that.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, I'll do it for you.
Okay, so I think while you do that, I'll do something else. I didn't want to. Yeah, I don't want to do that yet. So. Looking at our creatures, I don't think I want to do sentience right now. Let's create more. Let's shape the realm more. Convert 1 sight into 1 power. Okay, that's going to be the number of tiles with 1 die, so 2. And then another d4 to determine quality along with propers when he's ready.
Two and 2 is 4.
4. And that is gloomy. Okay. We're gonna put some gloomy stuff around me here. Where'd you go? Let's just keep going with these guys. There we go. Stick these on the map. Give them their 4s. And then I would like to power into glory. Let's create life. 2 power becomes 2 glory. It gives me 2d4 to work with. We've sort of worked in one being of the air by utilizing the seed pearl, and sort of creating this flying electric eel. I'd like to add to this, guys. Going with the wind domain quite a bit here. Let's say Actually, let's do this. I'm going to create a wingless creature that traverses the skies through a sort of phasing. Actually, I'm gonna incorporate space with this a bit too. I like this. It sort of warps the space immediately around its feet and basically jumps through space continually in order to travel. Like physically jumps off of its feet into these warped areas of space that it needs to in order to continue directing and propelling itself. That's 1, 2, 3. Fourth feature may be that it is... It is biologically asexual. Each one is able to reproduce spontaneously. I believe that's 4 features.
Okay.
And I converted 2. So we get 4.
Excellent. So, in accordance with your domains, I'm trying to think of something that works well. Did you write it down already? This creature moves
Yes.
to air. This feels a little bit distant, but it still works. To tie in with wind again. When it does this warping that it does, it makes a very pleasant sound, and the area around it is filled with this kind of song that it creates as it jumps from place to place. Tying in more of the senses into your creatures.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
I believe that's my 2.
Excellent. I can finally sanctify. We're going to make this tower a sacred place. And at the top of the tower is a glowing orb, let's say, that tracks the it tracks time as the day moves on. So this tower becomes almost like a giant, like, magical sundial. And so I'm going to roll a d4 to make this place holy. It's a 4. Haha.
Nice.
And so let's put that in there before I forget about it. 4. And then something else I wanted to. So I need to move. What was that? Was that glory to site, right? Yep. I'm going to maybe this is where we get a little combative. I'm going to place a seed pearl. And what I'm going to say is that the tower that I have created, that I kind of sanctified, is in fact powered by the tree from our past existence that you had treasured. And so it is now, instead of helping you, it is powering this whole city that ostensibly exists in this area here. And so the tree of life, the original tree of life, now exists in the hands of these people. And because it's not above land, this city knows it as this like seaweed of life. Like it grows as a underwater plant that nourishes this whole city and gives it everything it needs to survive. Those are my 2 moves. Your turn.
Okay. Let's see. I find myself constantly going back to this short definition page for all the actions as a good reminder of what I could do. I see your whales there. I'd like to claim a concept to add to my divine domains. So we're going to define, converting one site into power. Links with concept with a domain I already possess. So I have light, wind, earth, and space. I'm thinking of... I kind of stumped myself with this one, I guess. Let's say along with wind comes song.
Okay.
Telling a short myth that links the concept with a domain I already possess. A creature that I once inspired in our previous realm learned to create, would take dead wood and shape it into pipes with holes scattered throughout and hold it up against the winds in our realm in order to create different sounds. And eventually learned that the passing of air through these objects created these different sounds, different tones and notes. And used it to create sort of like chime-like implements to create pleasant sounds during windy days around their dwelling. Yeah.
Since you're taking sound, I'll take the obvious silence. Is that all? Both your moves?
No, that was one. Sorry, I just needed to write that down so I didn't forget. Let's inspire. No, let's not inspire. I would like to grant sentience to a life form that has been created. Choose a name that this species refers to you. I'm going to inspire the bears. Sorry, grant sentience to the bears, not inspire.
Okay, excellent.
So I'm spending 1 glory. And I have to choose a name that they refer to me as. I'm going to say the Shark of Land. It's an unpleasant name they have for me because I tend to bend earth and wind rather than granting them some of the more practical sort of abilities and insights into their own ways of life. Where are we noting this? Oh, over here. That is my 2.
Okay, so I did not reduce my glory and my power and my sight by 1 for the last move. Hold on a second. Oh, and I also forgot we could have allocated our sight and power and glory back to the things.
We could have
do that now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do those now before we forget about them again.
Okay.
Did you spend 1 glory for granting the bar sentience?
I did.
Cool.
I'll move here. Okay. Cool.
You know what I think? I kind of have a loss of what to do next. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna increase enmity by one. And there is a story of two demigods who one felt slighted that they had stolen a revered and personal item of theirs. And so by stealing the original Tree of Life, I have unintentionally offended the other demigod. And there's now some enmity between us about who gets to use that power.
Okay.
As my second move, I feel like I want to reminisce, but I'm not sure about what yet. No, I'm going to go back to land for the first time in ages and go visit my weird fish people. And that'll end my turn for now.
Okay.
I have since lost the image of the fish people, so I'm going to have to remake it, but I'll do that during your turn.
Why is it acting weird like that? Interesting. Okay. Okay, let's play with that a little bit. You have offended me by stealing this original Tree of Life and using it for your own twisted
my own life forms.
Your own life forms. I'm gonna say twisted purposes, but I don't mean that as like like it's I mean it like it's being perverted from its original intent or its original glory, that sort of narrative.
Okay.
And I'm going to...
Why is this not...
I'm going to attack. I'm going to attack you. Out of rage. I figure we're sort of coming up to the end of our time, so let's add to the chaos a bit and see where we land before the session is over. Okay, and we haven't done it yet. So attack the other demigod by sending a blast of my power at their location. Roll as many d4s as the number of power I have, which is 1. Add the enmity to it. This is my attack strength. It hits basically the land you are on. Okay, so my attack strength is 2. Wow, coming in hot.
Is that adding the enmity?
Yeah, I rolled a 1. So this space you're on does not have a holiness rating, and then decrease the quality of 1 for each point of attack strength. So that lowers from a 5 to a 3.
Which lands it in gloomy territory, I believe.
Yes. Once the quality of the tile has reached 1, any remaining attack strength that the tile has not absorbed is dealt as damage directly to the other demigod's glory. Okay, so I've just impacted the land.
Yes.
Intending to harm you, but I have failed in harming you.
How could you? How dare you? You monster.
And then realizing that I have rendered myself weak by granting all this life and land across our new realm, I seek more power. So, yikes. I think I'm going to shape realm again. And now our music just isn't going to go at all, huh? I'm going to shape realm again. Converting sight into power. And now I'm rolling 2d4. It's going to be a total of 3 tiles. And I rolled a 4 for quality.
And I rolled a 2.
So we're going to be at a 6.
Which is pleasant.
I think I'd like to reshape these 2 to a 6. Do we have 6s? They were like this.
The 6s were somewhere between. We're kind of. Forest is basically 6s as far as we know. You could use these ones.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. 1, 2. And then as a third, I'll continue expanding around this here. No, I'm not moving them. I'm highlighting them to send them to the map. Let's make them 6s. All right, and that is my 2.
Okay. Busy making a little spot for my city here. So now that I'm recommuning with my fish peoples, I don't have a lot of stuff left. So I need to convert some of my sight into power. I'm gonna reminisce about a city with the world's greatest library, just absolute perfection of knowledge and history, and it burned with everything else in the old world, but at one point had all of the knowledge that all of the world's countries and life forms had once collected, despite their differences. And so I am reminiscing about a time and a place where knowledge was the one true thing that like kept the world together. And flagrantly disregarding the fact that I'm the one that caused the enmity to move upwards. Kind of like, this is the like doesn't quite understand why Chaos had to quote unquote go and ruin everything, even though he definitely had some say in why the world burned in the first place. So what did I just do? I was reminiscing, so I'm going to change 1 sight to 1 power. And do I have anything else to forget? Hold on.
We need to identify a piece of your reminiscence that you tried to save.
I think it's just that it's the library. So like the city itself was burned, but I tried my best to save the library and was not able to.
Okay.
As my second move, I'm going to attack Chaos as a retaliation. Attack the demigod was sending a blast to God's power to the. Well, as many D4 as the power tokens you were converting. I'll convert 1 into glory, and so I'll roll 1d4 plus our enmity. That is also a 1, so it's 2. Your attack absorbed by the tile where your demigod is currently located. You are currently not on a tile, correct?
Nope, I'm just on the open water.
Oh no, it's going to go directly to your glory. Well, in a spiteful act of thinking that you must be the reason that the last world burned, Order is going to destroy Chaos entirely. And Order still blames Chaos for what happened to his beautiful mermaid fish creatures, and is going to commune with them again to hopefully bring them to become another sentient being in the future. So I believe your glory bar is down to 0, correct? Actually, I did not do this data validation correctly. Hold on a second. There we go. Now you can change it to 0. Death. If your demigod's glory reaches 0 for any reason, your demigod will fade away. After one of the demigods dies, another player should take one last turn. Then both players should collaborate on one final myth describing how the fate of the realm is passed on to others, whether that should be mortal life forms or other divinities. Alternately, you don't have to officially end the game of Pearl and Providence. I decided to at the last second to end it officially. So I get to make one more turn. And so as my last act, I'm going to grant sentience to my weird half and half mer people. Hopefully making them less ravenous and vicious. And I'm going to use my last move to define something which is appropriate for a world where there's only order and no chaos. What would you describe a single word to define the lack of any kind of change? There's a word that I'm thinking of that I can't think of. It's
unyielding, sedentary.
If a body of water is untouched, it is called stagnant.
Stagnant. That's it.
Stasis is also a good one, Mirror. I'm going to take the domain of stagnation. And so, it typed it in the wrong box. I am going to take the domain of stagnation, which feels appropriate as the world slowly shifts into stagnation because there is no longer the urge or the creativity of chaos to move this planet along. And you can say what you like about how this world, how our myth ends. I would say that in realization that they have killed off chaos, and stagnation kind of rules the planet. Order finally realizes that it was not chaos alone that created the fires of destruction from the last world, but it was the fact that both of them existed, that either of them were able to survive. Do you have anything you want to add to that final myth?
No, I think it's not a bow out. I think I like where that landed, so I think we'll leave it as it is.
I found a spot that I liked, so I felt like, you know what, let's just end the game here so we can chat about how we felt.
Yeah.
This was a very interesting game, and it definitely is something that I felt a little bad at some points of being like, hold on, I gotta sit here. Because if you're playing a board game with friends, you're not on stream. It's like you can sit there and be like, okay, I'm gonna think about what I want to do for my next turn, like really strategize about it without having to worry about like presenting. And I felt a little bad doing that, but like obviously that's kind of what this game is designed around. It's basically a strategy game baked into a story game. One thing I didn't do, and I'm not going to call you out on, but I feel like we didn't do very well, was like creating creative myths. We just kind of told what the myth was about, as opposed to being like one of the examples they give for I think it was for Define was, there is a story about how the sun and the moon are in love, but they can never be together. They say that Hilera fly messages from the sun to the moon and back. Those with golden wings are carrying the longing thoughts of the sun, and those with silver wings are carrying the moon's lovelorn replies. Like, that is one hell of a myth.
Yes.
That is pretty. We did not do that, and I felt bad because it definitely requires that kind of creative thinking that I struggled to come up with on the spot. It feels like something like that is something that I would do well if I had time to think about it, but because I wanted to move the game along, I didn't want to sit there and be like, well, maybe but that's also why I felt okay giving you suggestions throughout the game. Of being like, that's something that I put into my games a lot, is like one of the very first things I wrote when I wrote Generational was like, hey, you're telling stories every 5 to 10 minutes. I gave options throughout that game of how to collaborate with others and how to give inspiration, or how to add suggestions to other players' stories. And you probably remember this from when we played Cataclysmal together. That was in the rules for Cataclysmal as well, because it's kind of something that I want to focus on when I create games. But that's why I felt okay kind of giving you suggestions throughout play, because coming up with beautiful myths like that is really hard to do on the spot. But I felt if like we were to go back into this, I can make a whole bunch of beautiful, gorgeous myths like that out of the like kind of the mechanics that we created. What were your thoughts on how the game went so far so well?
Yeah, so I'll start with sort of piggybacking off of the one that you just mentioned, the myth aspect and the level of creativity. I have zero problem openly admitting that my creative wingspan is nowhere near as wide in that department as I'd like it to be. So that's part of the reason I was so open to suggestions when I was sort of fumbling through creating myths, but also one of the reasons I was so excited to play this game, because I'm used to leaning very heavily on a template. I'm very much a D&D person, so I have templates galore. We have all sorts of lore books. We have lore history and stat blocks on monsters and people and backgrounds and places and things to like lean on. And yeah, we can create our own stories off of those, but there's always like a starting point. There's always a template to work off of. There's always something to rework or add to or take away from, rather than where in this one, all we really have, and I'm saying this is a good thing, not as a thing that's lacking, all we really have is the domains and the creative pieces that we came up with in the first place. So I felt like that allowed me an opportunity, being that kind of person, to lean on a template a lot less and stretch the wings, stretch the muscles, try something new, and really be forced to be more creative with it. And I absolutely view that as a positive. Now, I still struggled with it, but I would also feel like, okay, after experiencing it this purely, even just the one time, if I came back to it again, I would feel more comfortable and able to stretch even more. I did have to keep reminding myself at a couple points that this is, as presented, a gamified world building and myth building just as much as it is a game, if not more, frankly. So like, I found myself kind of checking in, like reallocate my resources in ways that like I'm not at risk of dying, from that strategic sort of sense. But at the same time, I still had to keep reminding myself, if you die, which I did eventually, that is an addition to the world. That is a piece of history, an event that has now happened. There are myths and stories and events that go behind the fact that my demigod died. It's only the end of the game in the sense of, at least as defined, the game's over now after you make one more move, but that's not the end of the world. And I think it's important going through this kind of experience to remind ourselves of that. The end of the game is not the end of the world. In fact, it's explicitly stated, hey, take your world and do something else with it, with another game. So we have, I'm going to point at this. I'm hoping we'll save this and show Kaya this sheet that you created for us. All of our myths, all of our landmarks and the things we did with shaping the world, and now all these things we did with these holy sites, the pearls, the creatures, all of that can be used in something else that we would decide to do. So overall, I've really enjoyed it. It was a little bit chewy to get started, but once we got through a few, it started to click more. And frankly, that is just kind of the way of things in most cases. When there are mechanics, the more mechanics you have defined, the chewier it gets, and that's just how it is. But I felt like it started clicking after a few rounds. Yeah,
there is definitely some parts of the mechanics that I'm I'm not a super big fan of, just because it is rather crunchy, especially when you get into the parentheses within paragraphs of kind of the weird math you have to do to kind of figure out certain things. And I felt like certain things, I don't know. There's a bit of difficulty I had with the whole keeping track of so many things at once. Like, land quality is a mechanic, but other than attack, it didn't have a lot, or Aspire and attack weren't the only things that had a connection to the quality. And so that was a weird stretch of the brain to be okay, I'm gonna put this on this tile, but we're not gonna use it for the next 7 turns. And so it took a second to figure out what to do with that information. But it is the stretch of it's a feature, not a bug, where we decided to start making the tiles specifically look at a certain way. We chose specific looks of tiles for the different shades of quality, and so that actually worked out nicely, because I only have the generational to work off of. But basically in that game, I had a bunch of roll tables that were optional to if you weren't sure what kind of story you wanted to tell, you could roll on that table and it would give you a starting point, an inspiration. And it ended up being that we used it more and more often, because it forced you both to think of a new kind of story, because you have to use that inspiration in some way, and also because it gave you a springboard. It shaped the story in its own weird way based on what inspiration you got from that table. And so similarly, the kind of less desirable areas of land became its own story amongst the myth making. And so as much as I didn't like it or understand it when I started, it did have a purpose that I just wasn't aware of or didn't really understand when I started. So I think it was an interesting mechanic that I went into I have no clue what this means, but definitely had a purpose once you got down to it.
Right. And I do think that is one other aspect that, while not explicitly stated, does lend itself easily to what happens after the world is built.
Miralock in chat, the author, just wrote, I thought you both came up with super creative ideas, and you zoned in on the strategy of thinking about this as a basis of just putting a skeleton together and then putting fancy skin over it later. So taking it out of this play space and making it into a world where we can play an adventure in would be its own thing. I mean, good luck creating a campaign with the weird life forms we created. But you know what? I want to see a top fish, bottom human playable character in the future at some point. Someone get on that.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts before we head out?
No, I think at least for the live stream, I've encompassed what I've wanted to say. Like I said, Miralock, Kaya, I think Proper and I will both be following up with you with some thoughts on both our ends, from the viewer and the player side of this, and what we did with this document, and what mostly Proper did with this document, to keep track of things and all that jazz. So I think we're looking good.
I did realize at the very end of the game that I totally missed an important part of the setup, which was begin putting on a large sheet of hex paper to represent the formless ocean.
Oh yeah,
it was literally written right there, and I forgot. I totally missed it. Whoops.
All right, so it looks like we'll be heading out. So, Proper, would you like to start us off?
My name is ProperNerdy. I hope you enjoyed our stream tonight. I hope you get a chance to check out Pearl and Provenance on Miralock's itch. The link is in the overlay just to my right, and you should try it out. It's a two-player game, so it's really easy to find a game a group to play with. I feel like you could probably play this with more than 2 people if you really wanted to. That would be really interesting time to figure it out and see how it goes. I also write games. My game Generational is on itch, as well as Cataclysmal, which is a little bit rocky right now. Still working through some mechanical issues from our own playtest of that game. You can find them both on propernerdy.itch.io. You can also find a whole bunch of other games by TPK creators by going to the link is in the chat now, but it's not currently on screen because our chat is not in this overlay. But hopefully you get a chance to check it out on one of our other streams where we can share the link with you in the future. And we'll put that in the description on YouTube when we get this uploaded. There's a whole bunch of games by a whole bunch of creators, including all of the games we created in the TPK game jam, where the whole theme was TPK. So I hope you get a chance to play a bunch of the Mythmaking games. But speaking of which, I feel like I should give an advertisement for a show that I have coming up. It is called Nautilus. Magic will be joining us for some of it, I believe. Are you in Nautilus or not?
I don't believe so.
No, it's okay. I have a small cast of other creators, though, who are really gung-ho about world-building games. And so Nautilus is coming up in July. I believe it's July 25th, I want to say. Let's check that out. Nautilus is a world-building and session 0 game or a show that's premiering at 6 p.m. Pacific time on July 25th here on TPK Roleplay. We'll be starting with Beak, Bone, and Feather, which is another city building game that's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. And throughout the entire season, we will be playing world building games and games just like Pearl and Provenance. And I hope you get a chance to join us. Magic, please take us away.
All right, and I'm that Magic Juice. As I previously stated earlier, I'm a mostly D&D guy, but I'd like to hop onto the opportunity to stretch my wings into other role-playing games when possible, so this being included, and this was a fantastic experience. However, speaking of D&D and the stuff that I've got going on, I do run our Queen's Gambit campaign, which is a mix of the Tyranny of Dragons as written modules, as well as a whole bunch of homebrew stuff added in. That is running every other Thursday, including this coming week. And I do have, there is one more thing that has already been announced, so I'll just reiterate because it's going to be a long-term hype train for a Spelljammer adventure, which is releasing in August, that we will be running on this channel on, I forget the day. Sundays. It's going to be Sunday evening. Sorry. Starting on the week of release. So along with some other non-D&D stuff that I will be joining in, some of it is still being cemented, so I won't say anything official yet. You'll see me at the very least around chat and the Discord and all that jazz for the community. I look forward to seeing more faces and more names, trying new things all around. But I think for tonight, that's going to be it.
Have a lovely night, all.
Have a good evening.